all you're going to need for this is some 18 gauge non-tarnished silver, although you can use any other color wire you like, 2 8mm beads, 3 6mm beads, although this is some kind of purpley pink agate and this is some kind of pink agate, or it might be cherry quartz, but you can use any colors you want, you can use any styles you want, you can add more beads, but this is all you need to do what I'm going to show you. And a few 8mm jump rings, one little 4mm lobster clasp, a little bit of chain, regular needle nose pliers for jewelry, and cutters. That's it. And then you can do the whole thing. This is what we're going to attempt to do, something along the lines of. Now, I've never tried this before. I only saw a picture of it, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. Just make one piece, and then connect them with chain. That's pretty much it. I'm going to put some cute little beads in, but you know, there's a bazillion ways to do it, but this should be pretty fun. Okay, for the first part, we want to take a little more than a foot, maybe 14 inches, and that's going to be, let's take 16 just to be safe, maybe 18. And take this 8mm beautiful light purpley pink stone. It's some type of agate. We'll slide it to the middle. Okay, now we're going to wrap the wire around the bead going the same direction, really tight. And then we're going to start to, as we're wrapping, we're going to start to wrap it a little looser so it comes out like this. And you can make it swirl as much as you want, but this is good for me. Now I'm going to come down and make a big giant loop like this with the strands still side by side. And then cross it over here. And one strand is going to go in here to reinforce this part. So it's going to be like this. And then it's going to go through a few times. Got to roll it tight. This is a little tricky, not too tricky, but you got to see how it wants to make a nice big fat loop there, and you got to just grab it from different positions and roll it tight. Just keep pulling it through. And then with this last part, we're just going to make a little swirl. So pinch that in tight, hold it sideways, and just roll it like this. When you're rolling it, hold it very tight, because if you hold it loose, it's going to slip and scratch and make scratch marks, and that's not going to look pretty. Okay, just roll that in like that. It's good. And now this one, we're going to put a little bead. Get one of these little, they're like cherry quartz or some kind of agate. And we'll wrap that like this. And see how this is kind of moving around. We're going to wrap this one through here to hold that spot. Wrap that around a few times. Yeah, it's a good thing we took this much wire because we're using all of it. And just keep coming around until we run out of wire. And then this is very careful. You want to get this sharp end. You want to pinch it tight in there, and then you want to turn diagonal like that and tuck it into the coil that it was just making, so it disappears, so there's no scratch from any position, and check it. All right, now these guys, kind of adjust them, get them just the way you want. But they're strong, you can pull in either direction and they'll hold their shape. All right? So that's our first part. Second part We're gonna make a pretty heart. Again, we'll take about 18 inches. I'm gonna take another one of these 8mm, some type of agate, I believe. I'm sticking with the pinks and purples for this. Again, we're gonna bring it to the middle of the wire. And again, we're going to wrap it same way as the other one. Just make it tight. Come around as many times as you want, like just till you feel good about it, and then start to make it looser. And this time, we're going to come down like this, and we're going to make a little teeny tiny loop at the bottom here. We're going to pull it tight, still keep them side by side. And there's really no right or wrong to this. You can make it as tight or loose as you want. Now we're going to come around like this, and we're going to bring both these strands through here. Just try to keep them together like that. And you make your heart whatever size you want. Sometimes it's cool to have it asymmetrical, to have one side a little bigger than the other. And I am getting a couple more of these little the 6mm ones, the cherry quartz. You put them through here. Okay, and I'm gonna wrap this around here. Now you got to play with the angle to get it just the way you want. It's going to slide up and down until you make it tight. But get it wrapped around nice and tight at least one or two times. And then you can make a coil with what's left over again. And you can place the coil wherever you want. Kind of pinch that flat. Here's your next one. Now it's good to take more wire than I usually take, because as you can see, if I had taken more wire, I could make a really big fancy swirl there and a really big fancy swirl here. But I have these little baby swirls, so that'll be fine. But maybe yours will look better. I'm just showing you the steps. When you take the steps, you can make your steps more dramatic and more exciting than these. All right. Make sure that lays nicely. Now technically you can add the chain as one whole piece with no clasp, and they could put it over their head and then adjust it afterwards, but depending on the person, it might be hard for them to get it over their head and still have it tight enough around their neck when they have it all ready and finished. So in that case, you can cut the chain right here and add a little lobster clasp. I'm going to try it both ways and see. But basically, you just want to get two jump rings now and connect them here and here. And before you do that connection, put the chain through there and you're done. So put the chain through here. And make these two jump ring connections. These are 8mm jump rings. Okay, you definitely want to cut the chain in half and add a clasp. And you definitely want to have a chain that has big enough links that you can clasp the clasp anywhere you want, because the adjustment for this is very specific, depending on the person, depending on their outfit, depending on where they want this to lay and how they want it to hang. But other than that, I think you guys will have a lot of fun with this.